let's see. There we go, run back, run forward, run left, run right. So the only other issue I'm having is notice how the camera kind of tries to look at the character while it's running. And it's a little distracting. So we're going to tweak that, but it is working. But here's the problem. If I look right and try to go that way, my character still moves left, moves right, and it doesn't move correctly. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to first get the character to always rotate in the direction of the camera if we press the button. And if we don't, we should be able to just rotate and look at Kratos from all directions, right? So over here, we're just going to make a new function. Just make this a private void on the player rotate. So on player rotate, we're just going to only rotate if, and in here, if our move input is not equal to vector 2, not 0. Okay, the only time we're going to move the character is if input is coming in from the keyboard, meaning that we want to rotate the character to the direction of the camera. Okay, so in this case, we're going to go and say, now we don't have, this code isn't on the actual character, so we want to get reference to the character. So we could just grab it from the animator here, but I want to keep things a little bit clean. I'm going to make another serialized field. Make this a transform component. Just call this player transform, that's fine. I'm going to grab the player transform. And over here, this is where we're going to go in player transform dot forward. Not for each, forward. Thank you. It's going to be equal to, and what is it going to be equal to? We could get the equal to, let's try this actually, we need a reference to the camera, but right now we don't have that. Again, bad boy, Paulo, bad boy. So let's just put it here, private. Let's call this camera. Let's just call this player camera. Right, and we're going to do a quick hack in the awake. We're going to just grab the player camera. Stop it with my fat keyboard fingers. Player camera. Now we're going to go and say just simple camera.main. Yes, I know this used to be expensive, but we're only doing it once at the awake. It's not going to blow the world up. So we're getting the camera that's tagged as main. We're setting that as the player camera. And let's see what happens if I go and say player camera dot forward. So we're going to say, please what is happening here? I need to remove this Copilot thing, it's complete trash. There we go. So let's see what happens if we get tell the player to rotate the player to the camera forward. Let's see what happens there. Good God, stop it. Stop it, Paulo. We're not even calling this function. On player rotate. There we go. Let's go back now, it will work. Okay, let's see. So if the character moves, and if I look that way and I try to move, notice how we're getting an error because I haven't assigned the character to that script. Okay, so the character we need to rotate is going to be Kratos Miximo. There we go. Okay, notice how every time I rotate, the character is now looking where the camera is looking, right? Running towards the ground, looking up. So that's not what we want. We do want the character to rotate in the direction of the camera, but we want to ignore the rotation in the x-axis of the camera, right? We don't want, so if we grab the camera over here, we want to ignore all of this x rotation because that's what causes the character, when the camera is looking down, then the character looks down. When the camera is looking up, the character looks up. Okay, so I've got a function for this, so I'll just show you what that looks like. So at the top, I'm going to use using my helper functions. There we go. What this script looks like, I'll show you in a little bit. So over here, instead of just feeding the camera directly, we're going to just go CB utilities, dot camera forward, and all it needs in here is just the camera, or not the player camera to be specific. Okay, so what this function looks like, as you go throughout your career, you're going to start creating helper functions. These are scripts that don't have to be added to anything. For example, this is a script, the whole class is static, and inside here I've got a function to interpret camera-based input, both from a transform and a camera. Everyone know what an overloaded function is, because that's what I'm doing here. Both this function and this function is called the same thing, but the inputs change. So this one takes in a camera, this one takes in a transform. Then this is the camera forward, the one that we're using now. So I'm taking in the camera, I'm getting the camera forward, and then I'm just resetting the camera forward's Y position to 0 so that there's no rotation. And then I'm just normalizing that value so we don't get any weird values. And then I'm just sending that back out. So that new camera forward is being saved into a variable called camera forward, and I'm returning that. And because this is a vector 3, it's returning a vector 3 for me. So that is the function that I'm using. And I also have my cursor settings in here for everything else. I also have my screen to world position for camera, and for mouse and ray distance, layer mask, all that stuff. So you can create a lot of really cool helper functions for yourself. And the most recent one I added here was the one that ChatGPT helped me write, which is getting a point along a quadratic curve, which was really helpful. So this is how we're going to do the axe. So I've already put this function that Chat helped me set up. So we'll see if it's accurate. If not, we're about to find out, and it's going to be quite funny. Close that. We don't need that. So that's what I'm using here. I'm feeding the camera into that, and it's giving me so remember, that function is a vector 3, so it's returning a vector 3, and the player transform.forward is a vector 3. So that's all we need to get the character to rotate in the direction of the camera without rotating the character into the forward direction of the Z. So let's confirm this. Let's see if my mouse speed is better for my analog stick. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Could be worse. Okay, so if I look that way and I move, it now looks in the direction that the camera is moving. It will still strafe back and forward until I change direction. So if I run in a circle, the character should keep turning along with the camera. Same thing with the other direction. Actually, the direct. Okay, so this is why you need 8 cardinal directions. So let's go over here. So forward looks fine, back looks fine, right looks fine, and left. But forward right doesn't look too bad. Back right doesn't look too bad. Back left doesn't look too bad. But when we go forward, like forward left, kind of looks a little bit like he's doing a weird kind of movement, which is something we want to get rid of altogether. So that's why we're going to add the cardinal directions. Or you just tell your animator that those animations need to blend nicely together. Okay, so let's fix that weird camera follow thing. So normally the issue for me with that orbiting is this part where it says follow, a simple follow with world up. I'm going to... Let's just try to change it to world space. Let's see what happens. I'm going to switch the orbit binding mode to world space. Let's see what that looks like and see if it feels a little bit less weird. Let's see, go behind the character, left, right, left. It's not bad. Notice that jitter. I'm sure you guys can see it on the stream. Do you see that jitter over there? Okay, so that jitter is coming from the animation. Because the hips are bouncing up and down, the camera is trying to follow and it is jittering. So the way we're going to bypass that a little bit is using the rigid body on the character. So under the rigid body, I'm going to just change the interpolation to interpolate. So it's by default it's set to none. I'm going to change it to interpolate. I'm going to change discrete to continuous, and then that should be fine. We should get rid of that kind of jitteriness on the character. Let's see. Now it shouldn't jitter as much. Much better. There we go. Okay, notice how when the character runs back really quickly, it gets real close to the camera, and when it runs forward, it gets really like it almost like the. And if we let go, notice how the camera takes a little while to catch up. That is this dampening value on the Cinemachine. So if we run the Cinemachine, you'll see the first dampening value we have under the body, I think it is. Your X, your Y, and your Z. So let's put this to not 1, but like point. In this case, I think 0.2, 0.2, and 0.2 should be fine. I wanted to have a little bit of dampening, but not to the point where the character could almost run into the camera. So I'm going to apply those to the prefab. I could have done the whole thing, I know. Let's just kind of test that a little bit more now, just to confirm everything feels better. Okay, run forward, run back. Yeah, there we go. He's like, we're not up his ass. Okay, this isn't too bad. I do want to do a little bit of blending between the animations, especially when we do this, we kind of get this little bit of a stutter. So let's do that. That's going to come from, so if we go up to here, that's going to, actually, we have to check if everything still works. I didn't confirm something. Hold on. Okay, let's look in the complete opposite direction. Forward, backwards, right, left. No, that works fine. Okay, so there is a little thing that we can do. We can add some dampening to the animation itself. So over here, that's not, the set float doesn't end only here, right? So if we go and say comma, notice how it can, you can put in a float damp time and delta time. So over here, we're just going to say, let's call this animator damp time, comma, time dot delta time, right? So this value here is going to say how long it will take for it to speed up and slow down your input into the animator. So that's what this damp time does. So I'm going to generate that into a field. Yes, I heard a quack.
So this is a built-in lerp function, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Okay, that would be useful to know. Okay, cool, thank you.
You're about to see what can go wrong with this, so you need to always, when working with this, you need to work around the problem. So I'm just gonna, let's make this a serialized field so we can change it in the editor so we can see. Okay, so we have our animated damp time over there, and then what we'll do is just copy this stuff and paste it into the other one as well, just underneath here. Boom. Okay, now keep a close eye on these values. Now, floating points, you're about to see why. So keep an eye on the forward and the right at the bottom here while I select the character. Now that we have a damp value, let's make this, I think 1 might be a little, let's make it like 10 so you can see the difference. Okay. Notice how at 10, it's taking a while to accelerate. Notice how that value is animating. We'll get to top speed at some point, and if we go the opposite, it takes time to go back there. So 10 is obviously too much, so we're going to try something like 1. We just want to be able to blend a little bit smoother between directional movement. And you'll see in the bottom left, it no longer goes from 0 to 1 really quickly. Even that is too slow. Okay, so while it's running, I'm just going to play with this value. Let's go 0.2. But keep an eye on that forward and right. Notice how that value never settles. Okay, that value never settles. It'll keep going and keep animating. So if you want to do this, that's why we also keep the idle separate so that we can do things like this. I just want to confirm, go left to right, forward to back. That's not bad. I think we can go to like I think we need to go to like 0.15, just enough to kind of smooth out the animation. You could also animate that. You could also do a lerp for that. Yes.
Funnily enough, Paulo, it looks like you're more creating a Fortnite controller rather than the God of War controller at the
That's
moment.
that's just because he's holding a gun. Don't be confused. We'll fix that, and actually we'll fix that right now. Let's go to Mixamo.
Why can't you just hold the axe like it's a gun,
I
Paulo?
guess you could actually, but this is also something we can discuss. I'm just going to quickly log into Mixamo. Let's just get some arm movements that aren't holding weapons.
We get that. Is the session being recorded? Because I would like to come back and reference this in the future.
Yeah, it is being recorded. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Let's just get a normal idle. I'm just going to type in idle. Let's grab another idle for Kratos that isn't. I think that's my idle. Kratos should just be chill. He should be zen, not with his arms like right up. looks a little stiff, but that's fine. We'll download this one for the idle. Normally when I do this to keep file size small, I don't do it with skin, I do it without skin. Can anyone tell me what that means with and without skin? This should go towards my third years. Probably not as much my second years at this point. Ooh, what's happening?
Without skin is without the mesh.
Yeah.
And just armature.
Yeah, it's just got the bones basically. Let's call that Kratos idle. That's fine, yeah. Okay, and then I'm just going to find something with arms swinging. Actually, just call it, just type in run. This might look weird, so this is going to be funny to watch. I think that should be okay. Yeah, let's download this. We're about to see how ugly this is going to be, but it's fine. It's better than having him hold a weapon like a gun, like it's. I guess you could hold the axe and it would be a gun. Fast run. Let's call this arms. Okay. Sweet. Okay, so we did download 2 new animations. It was we can use these, but I'm not going to use them for the time being. So these are the 2 new ones I got. So I'm just going to, let's call this idle normal. Just a normal idle. It's fine. Oh wait, remember we need to make sure we're using the correct humanoid. I'm going to copy the avatar from Kratos over here. Click apply to the animations. Yeah, that should do it. Okay, so I'm going to replace this idle with that idle I just got. And then we'll go and just set up this arms animation as well. Oh, good God, I should have done both of them at the same time. That was dumb. Is this making sense so far? I'll try to speed up a little bit more so we can actually get to the throwing mechanic. Didn't expect it to take this long.
Yes.
Okay.
I can do that.
Come on. For crap, just check. We'll see if these arms work. We're about to see. So I'm going to use the arms for the upper body. I'm hoping this works. It might look ugly, who knows. So for that to work, if you've set up an avatar, like a humanoid avatar or even the generic, you can use something called, if you right click here, go create, you're looking for an avatar mask over here. Let's call it character mask. And on the right here, you just need to specify which avatar, if you're using an avatar. If not, you need to import the skeleton. Okay, but I'm going to do that anyway. And then over here, because we're using an avatar, I'm going to say that this mask is only going to control the top half of the, not even the top half, just the arms. Yeah, there we go. Let's try that. So green means it's going to be controlled by this is what the mask is going to control, and the red's going to be ignored. So let's see if this works. On the right side here, you're going to, in the animator, you're going to switch over and add a new layer. Let's call this one upper body. Let's just say arms. That way we can, and you'll see that we have a completely new animator because we're using that. And just for testing, just to see what this looks like, we're just going to be adding that quick arms animation that we got. Oh, it's just called arms. Well done. Okay, so if we push play, let's just see what that looks like. I'm just going to pop the game window to the side here so we can actually. Okay, that should be the new idle. Okay, we still have a weapon set up. So what we need to do over here is on this layer, you can control the layer's weight. So one being that this layer is 100%, and you can say override, additive, this layer can add to the layer below it, or just override the layer below it. We're going to use that mask we created for the mask that's going to control what areas. I'm just going to turn on IK on both of these layers. Same thing with the animations. Foot IK and foot IK. Okay, so let's see what this looks like now. Now that I have, this should, if it's done right, should look weird. The character's running on the spot. There we go. His arms are moving. There we go. Now this is great. This is selling it for me. This is doing such great work. Okay,
It's
so
beautiful.
anyone,
Keep it as
yeah.
is.
So the arms are moving because of this layer. So if I move this layer down, it goes back to normal. If I play this layer, so this is how we do a lot of upper body, lower body animations, where the bottom will do something completely different to the top, and then that's how we can have characters holding shotguns, pistols, all that stuff, without doing an animation for every single one. Okay, so yes, I'm glad that works, but we do also need, I'm going to go to the base layer and I'm just going to copy the idle. I'm going to go to this layer and paste the idle in here. We're going to set the idle for both of them, so set as default layer, and then we're going to use the same transitions as before. So only start moving the arms when we start running. Okay, so the variables are across all the layers, so your is moving will be available to every layer because it's part of the same animator. Yeah, that should do it. Okay, so that means now the character should be in an idle pose as opposed to swinging its arms around like a crazy person. But when it moves forward, the arms go. When it moves back, the arms go. Probably should have found a better animation. But look, this is starting to become a comedy, so let's go with it. Especially the running to the side there. That's such a funny motion. Back doesn't look too bad. Forward doesn't look too bad. But the side, especially this side one, is so... Anywho, okay, so we have movement. Now, understand that this whole character is moving with just 2 lines of code. Line 43 and 44 is what's making the character move. That's it. No rigid body dot velocity set, none of that stuff. You're just using your animator to drive the character through the world. And it will go up and down hills, just the way it normally would. Like over here, it runs up this hill, it runs up this slope, it'll hit... Yeah, let's run towards one of these statues so you can see it actually does hit the statue. There are no colliders on these rocks, so don't make me go run towards them. We can run right through them. Okay, so if I run here, if I hit the statue, it's not going to move. But I can run around the statue, I can hit this fire pit, it's not going to move. So if I go up this slope over here, it will go up and then it will go down, it will go up these bumps and down the bumps, because it's still using the rigid body to control the up and down and velocity of the movement, but it's using the animation to drive the character around the world. Okay, so far so good. Is everyone with me on this? I think we've done all the other animations, so I'm going to quickly, I think we'll leave this for now. Let's do the, I guess, the axe throwing and returning, and then we'll come back and revisit the locomotion to add all the in-between states here. The running in the diagonal, in the cardinal northeast, southeast, northwest, and southwest. But we'll come back to that in a little bit, because that works. It does what it's supposed to do. Okay, I think we need to take a quick beverage break. My mouth is dry. Anyone have any questions before we do a quick... Let's make it a 10-minute break.
Paulo, can you maybe just go back to the let's say the Cinemachine stuff, because I want to see how you got that. What's in the offset to the right.
Okay, so under each of the top, the middle, and the bottom, let's go to the middle here. You'll see that there's a body and an aim. The aim is where the camera looks at. So if I move the aim up and down, the camera will look at that new aim. And under the body, we also have some dampening values. So if you want to offset it, this is where you offset the screen X and the screen Y. So if I wanted this camera to look more down or more up, I could use the screen X and the screen Y. Another nice way to do it is also just have an empty game object in the scene that controls the look at target for this, which I think would be, at the long term, might be the better solution for this. But it isn't bad. I feel that, yes.
Okay, cool.
This
Thank
needs
you.
to go lower. There we go.
Well, we've got the Cinemachine open. Just a quick question. The Cinemachine is automatically assigned to a specific camera, but what if you wanted 2 Cinemachines and 2 cameras running? How can you lock a Cinemachine to a specific camera?
Because the camera itself gets the Cinemachine brain over here. Why would you need 2 cameras? You could have 2 Cinemachines and 1 camera. And
For a split screen game. That's what I need it for.
Oh, then that's got nothing to do with that. You're going to need to spawn the character in, and each character will spawn their own camera in. And once
Yeah,
you
so each has its own camera and each has their own cinema machine, but it's automatically both trying to use the same camera, which is on the first thing. You have to force assign it in a way.
Yep, you need to write some code to do that. I think Samyam has got a really nice video on that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's the only part. It hasn't supported that yet because the split screen works really nice with all the inputs, but Cinemachine doesn't have support for that. But I think it's literally just a couple of lines of code and you got it working.
Okay, and I'll do that in the character awake, I'm guessing.
Um, as you
Just on
start
awake,
each,
assign the thing.
yeah, I think you're gonna need to assign it. Yeah, when the character
Okay.
joins the game, you're gonna need to make sure that it's using the correct input for the correct character's camera.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Yes, 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 yes.
Sir, how do you get the Quixel mega scans for free? Because I've tried to do it and you have to like either use it for Unreal or you pay to export it to other places.
Quixel Megascan's got about 50 free assets. So I downloaded Quixel Mixer Bridge. I signed in
Okay.
using my Epic account,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just have access to the ones that are here are free. So these assets here they are, like I said, they are 50 free assets. But if you are an artist, I do not want to see you touching this stuff. I will cut your hands off. If you're an artist, this is what you should be making, not downloading. If you're a programmer, you're free to download. Go crazy. Go mad. Go crazy.
I'm glad I'm a programmer.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of these assets. This also comes in 5 different LODs. Really useful stuff. Yeah. So yeah, this whole scene's got set up with LODs. The whole thing too. So just to show what an LOD does, if you look closely at these little characters as we get further away, they start to switch. You'll check the lighting change, and then if we go further away, they should disappear. Come back in. Okay. Yes.
Sorry about that. Do you just mind showing how you split the upper body and the base layer?
Okay. I right click, created what is called an avatar mask. So
Yes.
create one of those, and then you select the mask. Now, if your character is set up as humanoid, it's simple enough. You just drag the humanoid avatar up here. Or in the case, if you don't, you're going to have to drag import the skeleton. So, and then the skeleton, you'll see it's down here. And then if you don't have a humanoid, you can't use this, but you can go down here and say, oh, I want you to ignore that area, and that area, and maybe only the left leg will work with this animation. So same thing, just doesn't have the little fancy little puppet thing there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, once you got the avatar, you can assign it to any layer that has a mask there. You can assign it there, and then only the green areas or the active areas will be affected by that layer.
Oh,
This
cool.
one is
Thanks.
only using the upper body, yeah. That's it.
How many minutes before we should be back? That's most.
Let's make it 5. I think, yeah, let's make it about 5 minutes. I'm just going to quickly grab those packages and drop it for you guys. Courtesy of Unity.
Paulo, could you maybe just quickly leave write out what's in your VS Studio on the screen? I just want to see how you did the movement.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no. So I had to restart my entire project because I realized I had messed up with the setup. So I've been trying to play catch up while you're explaining.
Oh, and then definitely that. So I'm just going to drop a few things in the channel here. There we go. It's the water that I used, the fog that I've created, and the dirt textures. The textures make your life so much better. Just ask Jared. He loves the textures. Is Jared even here? He was here. Did he just jump in to shit on me and then leave? Jared, are you there?
It's possible.
I think so. I do think so. I think it's very possible, yes.
Jared works in mysterious ways. That's probably the best way I can put it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's, what other way could I write this line of code here for my programmers? What other ways could I write this code here? You guys need to start playing around with ideas.
But first, you could stop by removing the curly brackets.
Yeah, we could do that. We don't need those. What we could do is instead of, we could do that, or we could do something like if it is, let's say, if it is equal to vector 3.0, we're just going to go ahead and return. Okay, so what that does is if this comes back, if this is equal to vector 3, it stops here. No code underneath this will fire. It'll stop firing altogether. So any code underneath this will no longer do what they're supposed to do. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways. Yeah, we don't need the brackets because we're only doing one line of code here. So there is something I want to do, and we'll do it when we come back. I just feel the rotation might be a little too snappy. The rotation anyway. You might want to do a lerp or interpolate of some kind.
In this case, a slurp works better.
Yeah, we could use a slurp. Go a little bit higher so you can see a little bit more of it. There we go. Okay, this is going to bug me, so let me quickly. So I'm currently doing a porting job. Can't mention what the game is, but I'm currently porting it for Nintendo Switch. To kind of give you, like, be better at your craft, right? Whoever's making this game, I haven't had the privilege of talking to these people because I'd scream at them. We were getting about 70 milliseconds on the Nintendo Switch when we initially tested the game. Now, can anyone tell me, is that a good amount of milliseconds or is that bad? Can anyone tell me
Right,
how
did
many
you repeat?
milliseconds gives you at about, how many milliseconds are we looking at for 120 frames per second?
8? Quick maths.
I think it's about that. Yeah, let's push play and see what the milliseconds over here is. So 70 is real slow. 70, we're getting about 3 frames per second, right? So this over here is about 180, 173, and we're getting about 5.8 milliseconds. And this is on the PC, right? So we were getting 70 on the Nintendo Switch. We're now finally down to about 15 milliseconds with a lot of blood, sweat, and tears from the programmers and the artists on this project. But it's still too high. We need to get it down to about 5. It's a lot of work because the Nintendo Switch, as I was told by, I would say he's probably the best programmer I've ever met. Is it's equivalent to an iPhone 6. So I'm like, okay, as long as I kind of gauge what the quality of the Nintendo Switch is, then I can work for that. So yeah, the current biggest issue is a coding issue. There's just way too many rate costs happening in the scene. So the rate costs are destroying the game at the moment.
Wait, so you're importing a PC game towards Switch or other way around?
No, from a PC game, a PC console
Okay.
game to Switch, yeah. Yeah. I get all the fun stuff, the kind of shit that makes you want to commit storage pipe. Yeah, Nintendo Switch isn't fun to work for. It's maybe fun to play, but trust me, it's not fun to work for. Not at all.
I saw that position for Hello Games as well. That's a position I might want to take.
That would be cool. I think that would be really nice.
Yeah.
Another key about applying for jobs, even if it says you need a title under your belt and 5 years experience, apply anyway. You never know, they might say yes. You, like, trust me, get used to rejection. It's going to happen a lot. But it's okay. It's part of life. You're not going to get every job. You're not going to get every opportunity. But if you don't try, you don't know.
A lot of times they need a specialist, and they don't want to hire somebody that's expensive, so instead they take a like entry-level person and build them up to be a specialist.
Exactly.
So that might happen.
Let's do Dots Learning Challenge. Ooh, thank you, Unity. I will try that. Anyone know what Dots is? Anyone try the Dots? How do you try to use Dots yet? No, I don't think so. Okay, so Dots is a data-oriented stack. So it's instead of object-oriented programming like we're so used to doing, it's all data-driven. It's that's what makes it really fast. Both Unity and Unreal have their own ECS solutions for this. They're both Unity's is leagues ahead of Unreal's at the moment, but they with Dots and ECS and data-oriented programming going forward, it's going to change the way we make games. We're going to be able to have like millions of enemies or entities on screen, which is going to be very cool. It's going to change the amount of enemies we add into a game.
Follow question. For some reason, whenever I enter play mode, for some reason, like the character controller on my play is just switches off on in the inspector here.
So it just turns itself off.
It just disables itself.
This one. There might be something wrong with the code that might be causing it to turn off. But when you put play in and then you turn it on, does it work?
Yeah, no, it works.
Yeah.
But it is a known bug. It depends on the Unity version.
Yeah.
I had the same problem last year.
Yeah. So what you might need to do is when you start the game at runtime, turn the animator on. It sounds stupid. Just say player animator enabled equals.
It's my player controller, like the actual script I'm using to control my character.
Oh, that's weird. That shouldn't. The animator, yes, this happening I've seen a lot. The actual script itself.
So we say maybe it's a bug then. Maybe I have an error in my code there.
But just also check in the console if you see any warnings or any errors. There might be something in your code that's making it disable.
Because it does mention it, and it does mention a null reference exception here, so it might be that.
I want a t-shirt. Never having like null reference exceptions are the easiest ones to have. For example, you might not have something assigned to the animator or the transform if you're doing what mine is. And if those are empty, you're going to get an error, which will then disable the script.
I had a weird bug for a while with a certain Unity version, where the longer the Unity would like be active, the more null references it would just pick up out of nowhere. It would play, it wouldn't have a problem with it. It would just throw me on play a null reference, and it would just keep adding more the more times I play. And then if I restart Unity, it's just gone.
Alex, I think it's just a bug. It just randomly pulls null references out of his ass.
Yeah.
I've had that experience many a times. It's fun. Just seeing it go up and up, and because it technically doesn't really do anything. It's just full of shit.
I had that with the shader graph thing as well. I don't know what it is, but when you use shader graph, Unity and null references don't go hand in hand. So exactly the same thing. You like start your project and everything works fine, and then 20 minutes in, you've got 50 null references when you launch. Nothing breaks, so it's still fine. It's just annoying.
I think it's because they're changing the undercore coding of the panels and Unity's panels that they, especially the new stuff like the visual scripting shader graph and the VFX graph. You'll see some weird like draw null references, and it's unable to draw something or unable to render something in the console because it might be having an issue rendering that window. But yeah, it doesn't break the game, which is good. Thank goodness.
Okay, I fixed the null reference exception. Yeah, it was just that. I was just too lazy to remove the error.
Yeah, don't ever ignore an error. Even an unrelated error can break something else in the game. Don't think, oh, every time I ask a student, what is that red? They say, no, that's something else. I'm like, that something else could be breaking what you're currently working on.
No, I'm away.
Yeah.
It's just because was saying it was on a line I had commented out, and I didn't know what that line was, so I wanted to go back and check it. It wasn't useful in the end, but yeah, it was just that.
Okay, let's get going. We're going to try something. So I need to set up the axe. I think we need a collider on this axe, and we need a rigid body. So I'm going to add a rigid body. Starting off is kinematic, meaning I want it to follow the hand, so I'm going to have is kinematic by default. I'm going to constrain the rotations because I'll do that myself, and I'm going to add a collider. I think let's keep it simple, a box collider. I don't want the entire weapon, I just want the blade. So I'm going to edit this collider so that only the blade, if it touches something, the blade will stop moving and stick to that object. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Thinking. Not sure yet. I'm just thinking. Okay, cool. Okay, now I want the weapon to kind of follow the character, but I don't want to just parent it. I'm going to try something. I don't often use the constraints, so I'm going to try use a parent constraint. There we go. A parent constraint is just a script that does exactly what it says. It's going to constrain it to something. And for this, I'm going to go into the rig. I'm going to the spine. I'm going to look for the right hand, right shoulder, right arm, forearm, and hand. And then I'm going to add an empty here. I'm going to right click and I'm going to add an empty, call this socket, hand R for right, and this is going to be the empty game object I'm going to move around to get the weapon in the right place. So I'm going to move it down a little bit. I'm going to add a little visual element so I can see what the hell is happening. And just kind of see if that's good enough. We'll see now. It might not be in the right place, but we'll move it at runtime and then just adjust it while it's running so we can get it in the right location. Okay, so the reason I want to do the parent constraint is that way I don't have to parent and unparent the camera, the character, the weapon. I'm not sure if this is going to work. That's why, like I said, I didn't prepare for this. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to add the source, and the source is going to be that socket. Needs to be in the scene. It's called socket, right? I did call it there we go, socket hand. There we go. And then I'm going to activate it, and I'm probably going to, let's see what happens. I might need to reset everything here. But let's just see if the character moves where the weapon goes in relation to that socket. Okay, great. It's in all of the wrong places. Nice. Let's just activate, and I'm going to need to position this axe in the right place from the start. So I'm just going to turn off the parent constraint. Let's just rotate this. Position it. I might just be doing more work than I need to. Maybe I should just do a simple pure parent, but it's okay. There we go. Okay, let's try that now. Oh wait, I need to turn the script back on. Oh, come on. Zero out. Okay, that's good. That's actually working. Okay, zero that out, and then let's go and move the actual object that it's parented to, because that's what actually is going to control the rotation of the axe. Okay, sorry, I forgot to zero that out. That explains why the hand was... There we go. Oh, good God. Okay. Let's see. That should be better now. It should
Paulo?
we stick with that? Yes.
But normally I'm assuming if you're creating things that you can parent to your main character, would you then normally create a specific point for it to parent to, or will you just sort of, as you just parent it to like the hand socket or something?
Well, I created that empty game object so that, but why is now my rotation doing? Oh,
It's doing
hold
the
on.
jiggy.
Oh, I changed my code. Remember, rotation, where are you? Not equal to, thank you. Jesus, that's why. I was doing a little show and tell earlier and forgot to rework put my code back to normal. Okay, now it should be fine. Okay, so yeah, it should
Feels
be
like
fine.
Kratos is doing the jiggy.
Oh, his arms are killing me. They're not very good. Honestly. Those are horrible. Anyway, okay, so I think that should be fine. I just want to move.
What are you
this
talking
up a
about,
little
Paulo?
bit.
It's beautiful.
Okay, I think
It's majestic. It's gorgeous.
it's nothing gorgeous or majestic.
It's perfect in every conceivable way.
Yes.
Okay, I think we should be in a good place. Let's do that.
It's not perfect. It needs googly eyes. Ragdoll physics-based googly eyes.
Bring up the glue.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's better. Now it's in a better place. Just those arms are killing me. What is it hitting me? Is my axe colliding with my character? It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Hold on. Hold a sec. Just remember when colliders hit with other colliders, we might get some weird stuff. So I just want to confirm. No, it is kinematic. Let's disable the collider. I want to confirm that I'm not losing my mind. We'll just probably enable the collider when needed. We don't need it when it's attached to the... Yep, it was a fucking collider. Okay, there we go. So now that we have the axe, what we want to do is, I guess, when we hit the left mouse button, or we want to hold down the right mouse button so that we can lift the axe up to before we throw it, and then throw the axe when we hit the left mouse button. So let's quickly get those inputs going. And we're going to add a new action called this aim. So we're going to call that aim, and that's going to be my right mouse button. And it's going to be my left trigger on the gamepad. Left trigger. And then we're going to do the, let's call it attack because it can do that as well. And we're going to assign that to our right trigger. And assign that to my left mouse button. Okay, so now, man, am I being an idiot? Thank you. Okay, so we have aim and attack. Okay, cool. So now that we have those, I also do want to just add a quick UI canvas just for a HUD of some kind. So I'm just going to create a new UI canvas. Let's call this HUD. So just make sure that we replace that. Over here, we're just going to make sure it's scale with screen size. Let's go 1920 by 1080. Right click and just add a small image and a UI image to the center of the screen. This is going to be the little reticle or cursor in the middle of the screen there, so that we can, when we aim, it will pop up to see where we're going to throw the axe. So let's go 25. That feels about the right size for God of War. And just because I'm too lazy, we're not going to make one, so I'm just going to simply rotate this by 45 to make it a diamond shape. There we go. Great. Excellent. Looks beautiful. Okay. And I think for this scenario, we're just going to scale it up when we... For now, we're just going to turn it on and then turn it off. Like that. But I think at the end, we want to just kind of scale it up a little bit, just to make it a little more interesting. So we're going to have that off by default. We're going to go to our player. Movement. Let's just do it in here. So we'll need to do, I always keep all my inputs next to each other so they're all in the same place. So let's go public, void on aim input. Let's call it on aim input. Once again, just do the input action .callback in here. Callback context. And I'm just going to use the exact same name because it makes no difference. That way there's a little bit of consistency. And then in here we're going to say if we're aiming, and then we're going to do something else. We're going to do something different. So over here, we're going to copy that, paste it in here. We're going to say, are we performing the action of aiming? If we're not, we're going to go to the else. Okay, so over here, I'm going to just quickly add a reference to the UI image that we want to enable or disable. So over here, we're just going to type in, it is a game object, so let's go game object. And let's just call this player UI. And if we aim, I'm going to say player UI dot set active. Just duplicate that, put it there. So if we're aiming, this needs to be true. If we're not, it's going to be false. Okay, so let's use a Unity event for this. Instead of doing something like this, can anyone tell me the setup for a Unity event, please? Anyone who's used one, go public. Unity event, right? You can specify what type of Unity event or just leave it. You can specify a float, a vector, or you can just call this, let's say, aim event, right? And a Unity event is very much like creating a list. You need to do that to initialize the event. And then we're going to duplicate this one. Let's say on aim start. And let's say aim end. Okay, you'll see why Unity events are really cool. Over here, we're not even going to do this here, right? We're just going to just say, we're going to invoke. So we're going to go and call this Unity event over here called aim start event. Aim start event dot invoke. So we're going to invoke that. And then over here, we're going to invoke the aim end event invoke. So let's see what's really cool about this. We actually don't even need the reference to the UI anymore.
Hello there.
Yes. Okay, you'll see Unity events. They'll look very familiar, and you can see them right there. We've all used them. Here we go. This is what a Unity event is. There and there. These look familiar. I'm going to grab my HUD. I'm going to grab my image. And this is the cool thing. This is a very cool artist-friendly tool. Whatever you want to do when I aim, we can add it in here. We can play a particle, drag it in here, and tell the particle to play. So in this case, we're going to grab the object. We're going to go game object. And we're going to look for set active, and it's going to be true. And then over here, we're going to do the exact same thing, but we're going to set it to false. We're going to go game object, set active to false. Right? So by just creating those two Unity events, we've now added what we want to do inside of each of those events. So, yes.
I'm just looking at this and wondering, why did you decide to do a Unity event in this instance? Due to the fact that the HUD is probably going to receive signals from taking damage and things like that. So are you going to have separate events for all of them? That feels just a bit bulky.
No, just to show you.
Okay, cool.
Because what's nice is this event's set up. So if I wanted to play a particle system when I right click, I just drop the particle system in there and say particle system.play. And it works. And if I don't want it anymore, just remove it. And there's a lot of really cool things. We can have an audio source, drag the audio source in here and say audio source.play and play the audio source. So, and these events are really powerful when you're trying to do a lot of things that you can just drag and drop to do at those specific cases. But yeah, this was just to show you the Unity event. Okay, so I didn't actually input my aim into my code yet, of course I didn't. So let's go ahead and drag it in here. Player input, look for the aim input. There we go, that's done, and now it should work. I've always updated my prefab so that if anything should happen to my scene, I do not lose my character and all the work that I've done. Okay, there we go. If I right click, the cursor shows up. If I let go, it goes. Right, left, right, left.
Sorry, but can you show the code again for that?
Which part? This part here. So that's how we create the Unity events there. Now, Unity events can also have, like what's nice is if you put those, you can tell it that it needs to be a vector 2. Right? And it has to be, it will only take in vector 2 stuff. But if it's just a normal Unity event, it's like calling a normal function. It will call that event and fire that event. Yeah, so that's
Sorry,
how
just to
it
check, you can pass through a bit of information, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, but can you show where you enable and disable the cursor in your code? Oh, okay,
No,
so you just
they're
invoke it. Okay,
Yeah, you
cool,
just
thank you.
invoke it, and whatever is attached to that event will get called and do whatever. Now, you also can remember this isn't just a drag and drop situation. You can always listen for a Unity event by adding a listener. So you can listen for certain events so that if all the enemies need to know when the players enter a room, you just send a message using a Unity event saying entered room dot invoke, and then all the enemies listen for that, and when it happens you say, by the way, when the enemy enters the room, what do I do now? So it's both from a code and a Unity standpoint. It's a really useful tool. Unity events and Unity actions are really cool. Definitely recommend you guys taking a look at those. Actually, I probably should have done this. Hold on, let me grab this if statement here and put it there. Just keeps it nice and neat. Yeah, that's good. So as I go, I always kind of refactor stuff just to kind of see if it makes sense. Clean up code where it makes sense. You can always come back and refactor your code, but if you're going along the way and you find something that works a little better, it's always just better to do it there before you forget. Okay, so I do want it to rotate a little bit better. So over here, I'm not going to directly input that straight in. So I'm going to do a vector3 dot slurp. Okay, so Alex, you mentioned the slope. Would you like to specify why we're going to be using a slope for this instead of a lerp?
So a lerp is linear interpolated, while a slurp is, there's a different word for it, but it is a smoother interpolation. So in this case, it just rotates smoother.
Yeah. And it's actually
Busy.
really designed for rotations, which is really nice. A slope is really good for rotational stuff. So what does the slope need? It needs the current location. It needs to know where it needs to go. And then it needs a time for it to get there. So the starting point is let's get the player transform dot forward. The forward is the current forward direction of the character. Where do we need it to go? We're going to paste that code that I had originally, and then we're going to have, I'm going to create a variable called player rotation lerp. That's going to be the variable name, and then I'm going to multiply that once again just by time.delta, just out of habit. And then that should do it. Now there's an error because I haven't generated that into a field yet, so I'm just gonna, for the love of God, just not do that. What the fuck has just happened? I blew up my computer. Sorry, there we go. Full stop, thank you. Well, you just... Okay, I'm just gonna copy this and do it the old-fashioned way. Go to the top and just generate that variable quickly. It's going to be a float, and it's going to be that. And let's set it to... let's set it to 2. So that's going to give us a smoother rotation, but you want to do this, always tweak it. Don't just assume a value is fine. Play with it until you're happy with it. So I'm going to see if this rotation is fine based on, I'm going to look away from there and I'm going to rotate. That's too big, too big, too big. So let's go down to like 0.5. Let's try it again. A lerp is always, the best way to understand is the bigger the value, the faster it goes. So I went the wrong way. Well done. So it's like acceleration. There we go, let's go that way. That's a little bit smoother, much nicer. Especially when you go side to side, it's not as... These arms are killing me, guys. Oh my god. They're horrible. I need to find a better animation. Actually, hold on, I can. Where is this? Let's go axe. Let's find something where he's holding an axe. There has to be an axe animation. Just an axe being held. An axe idle, axe idle. Anything with just the axe being held. Yeah, okay, it's standing idle. Yeah, we're using this one. I'm replacing those. Oh, that's a horrible animation. Okay, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here. What was it? That standing idle. There we go. Set up the... Remember to always set it up. Sometimes you won't be able to use the same avatar. You might have to create a new avatar, especially if you've got animations from a different setup, a different character. But that's the power of humanoid. You should be able to translate that animation anyway. For the most part. There we go. That should do it. Let's just push play. Okay, so I'm just going to replace this animation here. Both the idle can stay the way it is. It's the arms that are bugging the crap out of me. Kratos standing idle. Let's see if this is any better. Hopefully, it's not as horrible. As long as he doesn't have his arms flailing like he's drowning or something. That's better. Much better. Okay, there we go. I can work with that. Okay, so now when we aim, I want to just maybe have a raising up animation, but for now, let's just throw the damn thing, right? Let's throw this frickin' axe. Okay, so back to our code.
Right now, if you stand still and you aim, the character doesn't rotate, so just where it calls the rotate on update, you just do an or is aiming.
Depends. I notice on God of War, he doesn't look up and down when he's aiming. When he throws the axe, he just throws it in that direction. So
okay.
Yeah, but I do need an aiming animation for when that happens. So we'll get one quickly, but let's first do the code. So under the aim over here, we're going to add another one. We've got the aim now. We need to have the actual when we actually attack or fire. So void on attack input. Speed this workflow up. Yeah.
I just want to know if I'm the only one having this bug where cursor.lock state, if you lock the cursor, for instance, it works perfectly fine if you play, but as soon as you say play full screen, it
Watch this.
doesn't.
I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it now. Let's do that. So we're going to call the cursor.lock state. So again, my CB utilities does this. So let's do that. Cursor settings. Over here, I think it needs to be false. Comma. Cursor lock state locked. There we go. Okay, so let's see. You'll see it now. It only happens when you go full screen. So if we normal mode like this, at the start of the game, my cursor should disappear when I click in the viewport. There we go. Right? But if I go and you should be playing in full screen anyway. I do not want to see any of my game designers playing in full screen. You should not be doing that.
I mostly just want to use it for sometimes for like getting under the right measurements, because when I look when it's not full screen, everything looks to scale, but as soon as I go full screen, then the UI is too small or the things are too big. It's just like
you need
for
to
testing
confirm.
purposes.
Yeah, it should make no difference. The UI should always adjust. So make
No,
sure
but
you're
I mean,
setting your HUD correctly.
no, the HUD is
for scale and stuff. Yeah, then maybe just grab this and put this on a separate monitor, this window.
Yeah, it's just annoying when the cursor keeps on appearing. Is there a way to fix that? Where it disappears still in full screen?
There's nothing to fix it at the moment, except for a build. So, but it's fine. It's not a train smash, honestly. It's just a little bug. It's not.
Okay, because it worked in 2019 versions and so on.
Yeah. They like I said, they're doing some major overhauls before Unity 6, so they expect a lot of shit to come down the pipeline. Okay, so on the aim input. So I'm just going to copy all of this, except for the invokes, obviously. Like that. And over here, we're going to do something when we press the button. I'm thinking we're going to do the functions separately. So at the bottom here, I'm going to make a private void. Let's go throw axe on throw axe on throw axe. Okay, so this is going to be the one that throws the axe, and then we'll have another one for. Does it need to be on an update? It might need to be. That's fine. We'll just make it on throwbacks. Nice, well done, Smart IntelliSense. On return axe. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to have one that throws the axe and one that returns the axe to us. Throw axe should be simple enough. So I'm going to scroll up to the top here. When we press the button to... We don't need else, actually. What am I doing with this else? No, this else. Yeah, sorry, we don't need this else. So over here, when we press the button, I need to check if we have the axe or not. So let's make a bool. So it's going to be a private bool. Let's say has axe in hand. Oh my god, this is horrible. There we go. Has axe in hand. I'm going to say true because initially we do have the axe in our hand. So we're only going to be able to throw it if we press the button and axe in hand. Yes. Okay. So over here we're going to call that function. I think what was it called? On throw axe. Okay. There we go. So we're going to throw the axe. And again, always keeping your code nice and clean, creating functions that do one thing, like the movement only controls the movement, rotation only controls the rotation. The throwing of the axe is going to do that. It's going to throw the axe. So over here, we're going to have to do a few things. We need to have a reference to something. So at the top here, we are going to need,
Sorry, Paulo?
yes.
Is there a way to do this while with scriptable objects? Because I wanted to also learn a little bit about that.
Which part?
Throwing the axe, say you have a stronger axe or a weaker axe or something like that.
Yeah, you could have the damage that the axe uses. You could have all the UI elements based on the scriptable object for that. Yeah, you could do something like that. You could have a scriptable object for that.
I just never done it, so I just don't know how. That's what I'm missing.
No, I'll show you another project. Let me actually open that in the background. Oh crap, we're out of time. Let's get the throwing, and then I'll make a video for the retrieving of the axe. What am I thinking?
Go
What do we
thanks.
need here? We needed a reference to the parent constraint. So there we go. Just there we go. Parent constraint and parent constraint. There we go. So remember the object is constrained to the parent. So when we throw the axe, we're going to want to, let's go parent constraint dot, and let's say, actually I've never done this before. So do we get source, set source? Let me just see what that variable is called. We might just need to,
I think it's seen as a list of sources. So you call it by dot source and then
yeah, but I
elements.
just want to get the weight. Maybe we can just control the weight like that. So if we can get the weight of the constraint, yeah, let's try that. Type in weight equals 0. Let's try that, shall we? And then we need to enable the collider on the axe, which we don't have here. Oh my god. Okay, I'm going to create a script that goes onto the axe to do this, actually. So we're going to put this into a script for the axe. So let's remove that, because now I'm putting too much crap that is not needed in this script that should be on the axe, because the axe needs to spin and all that kind of stuff anyway. So let's create a new script here. William, would you like to explain what a quadratic curve is, or a parabola? Because that's what I'm going to be using for the axe.
So essentially a parabolic curve, if it comes to a mathematical thing, is just that every x value or the forward of the character has two y values. In other words, if it's a certain distance away, it'll start moving further up. And then halfway between you and your target, it'll reach the highest point where it moves away from a straight line, and then go back down to hit the enemy or the target.
Okay, so we're going to make this public so we can access it. It's going to be a void, and we're going to say update axe settings. Let's do that, something like that. We can probably feed in some values into this. So over here, we're probably going to want to turn the collider on or off, because this object does have a collider. So we'll need a private collider. Let's call this axe collider. If you guys are up for it, we can keep going. If you guys are done, you may leave. Private. What was the other one? Parent constraint. That's it. Parent constraint. Oh, fuck right off. Just do what I want you to do. Right? I'll spell the whole word. See if X. Okay. Oh, of course I spelled that wrong. Well done, Paulo. There we go. Okay, I think we needed those two. And we need the rigid body. So let's do one more. private rigid body XRB. Okay, so I think at the start, when in the awake, we just need to get all of these. So in the awake, we'll need to get the collider. Nice, X collider, Paulo, you did. There we go. And we're going to need to get the axis constraint. And we're going to need to get the rigid body. There we go. So at the start, because it's all on this object, I'm just grabbing all the components, assigning them to all the variables. And then in the axe update here, I think I'm just going to feed it from the player side. So what do we need to know? We need to enable and disable the colliders. So we will need, we'll need a bool for the first one. Say incoming, what's that one? Collider setting, set, comma. And then the parent constraint is a float. So it's going to be a float. Call it incoming constraint. Why can't I spell the word constraint? Wait, there we go. And then the last one is the rigid body. We want to turn the rigid body to kinematic. So that's also a bool. So we're going to make that a bool. We're going to say incoming rigid body is kinematic. Okay, these names are getting a bit insane, but that's okay. That's fine. Okay, so based on the incoming values, we're going to set the, starting with the first one, that is the collider. So we're going to go axe collider dot enable equals incoming collider set. There we go. And then the next one is what? Constraint weight. So axe constraint dot weight is equal to incoming weight. And then the last one is XRB is equal to RB dot is kinematic is equal to that one. So then that way when we throw the axe, we just update the settings on the axe, and then we'll need to do a couple of other things, but I think that should be good for now. We'll just need a reference for the player to have in the axe. So let's make a serialized field to, let's say axe, because that's the variable. Let's call this axe ref. So the axe ref over here, and then when we throw the axe, where was it? Here, we're going to throw the axe, and then over here we're going to call a function to do whatever we need to do on the axe, and then throw it. So we're going to enable, disable all that crap. So over here we're going to go axe ref dot, and I think we called it on axe. What did we call it? No. It was called updates axe settings. There we go. Okay, so when we're throwing it, we're going to want to, what did I say? We want to, incoming collider needs to be set to true. We want to set the weight to 0 and set the bool to false. So it's going to be true, 0, false. That should be the settings, because we want to set the collider to true, we want to set the weight on the constraint to 0, and then we want to set the is kinematic on the axe to false, so that when we throw it, it actually does stuff. Okay, and then we can throw the axe. Let's see what happens if we do that. So over here we've got reference to the axe, so we're going to go axe ref dot add force. Wait, sorry. It's not a rigid body chop. Rigid body. Actually, hold on. We have a reference to the rigid body, but it's not public. It's not public, so let's just do it this way. Rigid body, and then over here we're just going to say add force. Let's just do that, and then we're going to add force in the camera direction. So we're going to grab the we have the player camera dot forward, because wherever the camera is looking, that's where we want to throw it. That's not forward. Wait, hold on, player camera full stop transform. Sorry, I'm not actually looking while I'm typing tonight. Transform dot forward. Okay, and then that will need to multiply by some sort of value. So we're going to multiply it by a throw force, maybe, and then comma. We're just going to choose the force mode to be impulse. I think for now that should be good. Let's try to generate this again. There we go. This time we Generate field. What field did you generate? A vector 3. That's excellent. Well done. Okay, so this needs to be a serialized field, so we can access it in the editor. And because we're not multiplying it by anything, let's try 10 as the force. So we detach the camera, we hit it with the gas in the direction of the camera, and let's see what happens. And then over here we have to obviously say axe in hand. What did I call it? Oh god. What did I call it? Hold on. That bool that I created. There we go. Has axe in hand. Oh my god. Don't ever name your variables. The axe hand is equal to false. We no longer have the axe in our hand, which means when we try to throw it again up here, we won't be able to throw it. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Did I hit F11? There we go. That's better. Okay, so I'm just going to confirm everything is right. So on the player, we should have a reference to the axe, which I'm going to grab, pop it in there. Oh, it's because it's a prefab inside of a prefab. Okay. Just do it that way. Let's try this and see what happens. Like I said, I've never dealt with the constraints, so I'm about to see if my great idea works or if the world is about to blow up. Let's see. Okay, we aim. Oh wait, I'm in the side of the actual input. There we go. Okay, that should do it. Okay, let's see. Great, it didn't launch anywhere. I wonder why. Maybe the constraint. Let's see what happened. It definitely detached, which is good, but it didn't add any force. And it is kinematic. Discrete. Collider was enabled. Maybe we just turn off is active. Hold on, let's try that instead. So I'm going to go into the axe. And we're going to try to see if we can switch this out for a bool. And here we're going to say is active. No, wait, hold on. I don't know if that, let's see. Where are you? Because the weight seemed to work. I'm just wondering why it didn't fire off. Now let's actually just revert this and let's just see if... Let's go back to the player quickly and see. Look, so we did all of this stuff, then we got the rigid body, we added the force to the axe using the player camera to transform dot forward, multiplied it by the throw force, impulse. Okay, so I'm going to put that into the actual axe. So I'm going to create a function in the axe. We just have managed throw axe.
So this could be a very stupid suggestion,
Go for it. I like your stupid suggestions.
but it kind of looks like it's cancelling out the kinematic part of the rigid body before it applies the force. So your axe is essentially just being thrown and then being told it can. So maybe if you just
Yeah,
wait before adding
just
the
a little
impulse
bit.
for a frame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. Just wait. Okay, so we're going to add the force here. So we're just going to go and go axe RB dot add force. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to have an incoming force, and then we're going to just put a transform here. Just say incoming camera, so that we can easily change this from anywhere. Then over here, we're going to use the incoming camera dot forward. We're going to multiply that by our incoming force. like you said, we'll do a small delay. Let's just do this first. Get this up and running again. Okay. As that happens. And let's just actually do something else. Let's confirm that x rb.is kinematic. So we'll only do that if that has already been done. If not, maybe we can loop around. But yeah, let's just.
You want to add a log to that one to see if it actually is.
Yeah, we'll log it. Let's just clear this crap out there as we were doing it here. So we're going to remove this. This was called throw force right, comma, player camera dot transform. And then we'll log that. Oh, why is it not doing the $sign? There it is. There it is. Oh, good God. Anyone know why the keyboard switches my @ symbol and my inverted commas? That's weird.
So that's a bit of a Windows thing, that it's just changing your language setting based on a shortcut you accidentally hit. So you're gonna have to change your keyboard layout back to US South Africa.
Just click that ENG at the bottom right on your taskbar, and then just change it back to South Africa.
Fuck you. Thank you, Jared. You came out of nowhere. It's like God, but like at least you respond.
You are welcome, my son.
It usually happens if
Is
you
that
press.
what God sounds like? Thank God. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
It also happens sometimes if you press Windows and then spacebar. Then you can cycle between them.
So that's the shortcut.
Oh, I was about to ask because I always accidentally change that shit.
Yeah.
You never know how that happens.
And yeah.
Okay, so it snapped. Okay, we're getting rid of this wonderful parent thing that I was trying. This is great, but it's complete trash, so remove. We're just going to parent it the old-fashioned way. We're going to set the parent and unset the parent. I think will be the best way. Where's my socket? There.
I was about to suggest a line of
The
code
bell.
to stagger that. That would have roused Jared out of slumber. I was gonna say invoke axe throw 0,1f.
Ooh,
Oof,
okay,
oof, oof, oof.
you can do whatever you want. It's your code.
Yes,
Jared's
everyone
oof
has
is
to see
all
it.
the reply I need.
Okay, let's put
Do
that
you remember the
in
tower
italics.
defense? That was just invoke repeating.
Yes. Hey,
Look, they wouldn't have it there if it wasn't meant to be used, guys. I'm just.
Fair enough.
it
I'm
says it
just-
on the scripting API. Like, don't use this.
You got a lot of
Remember,
shit that they
people.
like don't use, and you're like, why would you give me the option then? So what did we do here? Oh, we're just breaking the parent. Okay, so over here we're gonna go and say.
Always remember that days of debugging can save you literal minutes of reading the documentation.
Yep.
Yeah.
What?
What I did for the game jam, I did it on the animation event, and then you don't need to add force necessarily. I mean, sometimes.
It should do the trick. Ah, son of a bitch. So we're gonna set it to null. Actually, we don't want to set it to null because now I've done all this fancy cock that we're overriding. Fuck this shit. So for testing, we're going to set it to null to see what happens. Then we're going to throw it and see if God likes us enough to do it. Of course, I have an error because I haven't changed the function here, which doesn't need that anymore. Okay, success. It kind of looked like jizz leaving his hand. Let's do a little bit more there. It needs more chutzpah. So the parent constraint doesn't work the way I like it. I don't like the parent constraint. I expected it to
It's
be
gonna
better
be
than
weird,
that.
man.
I expected it to be better than that. I genuinely thought it was going to be like a really cool. No, it's not cool. Just
They
okay, so
sincerely
let's
dislike being altered in runtime. Nice.
come back to me. Okay, so now that worked. We now need to orientate the axe because it just fucked off. But that's a good sign that it worked. I think 50 might have been too much. So 10 was too little, 50 is too much. Let's go 20.
My biggest question is how do you make it stick to an object? Because I'm pretty sure it's going to bounce off. Just
Mention on
guessing.
the axe.
Sorry?
We'll do it on the axe. When we collide with something, we can just turn the kinematic back on and then it stays stuck in the wall. That's why we put the collider on the blade. So when that collider hits something, we can make it stick. It probably shouldn't be set as an actual collider. It should be set to his trigger.
That's way easier than I've seen somebody else do in Unreal. Not because of Unreal being Unreal, it's just like he overcomplicated it.
Yeah, people tend to overcomplicate stuff on the internet and I'll make it better. Let's see. Yeah, that's cool. I'm happy with that. Okay, so we also want to probably get what is the forward of this axe because I want to get the orientation of that axe. So it's actually the X. Okay, so we need
Pin it on the
transform
X of the
right.
camera. I feel like that would look alright.
Well, let's find out, shall we? So we're going to throw the axe, add force here. Now we can actually do it. So we're going to add force and we're going to set the axe. Good God, just the transform.forward and set it to the player camera. Why do you hate me, computer? Why do you hate me? Oh, incoming camera. There we go. I can use that. Incoming camera dot forward. Let's try that. Let's see, we're going to throw it, get the camera. It might be a little snappy, so we can interpolate that value, but let's confirm that that actually works. Not forward. Oh, fuck. Sorry. Dot right. Yeah. Jared's sitting back there saying, Paulo hasn't closed Visual Studio the whole time. He's so proud of me. It's like, yeah. Don't get me wrong. I've been tempted the whole. Where the fuck did my axe just go?
You threw it
What?
Immediately. Or it
Oh
spun
shit!
immediately.
No, I might have clicked it. Hold on. Don't touch anything. Don't touch anything. Let's see. Okay, no, I must have hit the button. Okay, let's look towards that side and click it. What?
You hit yourself. You hit yourself with a collider.
Axe transformed rigid body. Okay, so let's start with turning the axe collider to trigger. That way that won't happen.
It's uncanny. It's just like in the game. It's perfect.
It's like, yeah,
It's off. The box collider is off currently.
it's killing me. It'll get turned on when we fire it.
Aha.
Just so that it. Okay, let's try this again. No, that wasn't bad. It went in the direction. Now I like his wonderful T pose there. We should have an aiming pose. So let's find a pose on Mixamo.
If I find you the meme yeet sound effect, will you add that?
Down a little bit, I think there was a throw. There's melee attack might work as a throw.
Yeah, I'm just looking for anything that looks like actually that
over the shoulder throw.
The arm is up there, so we can use that for the upper body. So let's do that.
Switch for yeet.
But I just want to know for hair simulations, do you also recommend using the cloth component for hair simulation?
I don't know if you need to simulate hair. To be
mesh hair for the win. Put a hat on it. Call it a day.
Yeah.
Am I crazy or is Kratos bold?
Yes.
Want that beard physics?
Yeah, beard physics is cool.
That's a jiggle bone.
I think we had something that resembled a throw, just a swing. That might maybe the beginning of that.
Try a phone
Oh,
call.
that, maybe
Like try
that.
answering phone to just like put the hand up next to your ear.
Most aggressive phone call answer ever.
Kratos calls you. You answer before phones are invented.
To answer the hair simulation one, it's tricky. Do you need it? That's the first thing. And if so, you could probably do it in Blender before you do it in Engine.
I mean, just look how AAAs with millions of dollars behind them struggle with hair still.
Yeah, it's not something that will be done overnight. I genuinely believe it is a struggle that will be ongoing.
And
I
is
mean,
it
Even
really
it's
worth
more
pre-rendered
it?
struggle
stuff.
with scale.
Shit, even pre-rendered stuff, right? That shit is... Okay, weapon aim. I'm going to use this. These two are the new ones, right?
But like also like hair clipping through mesh. Obviously, if you animate with rigs, it's gonna probably take longer to set up the rig, then animate it hand manually instead of just having a simulation for it.
I don't know. Bone physics can kind of get you, like, get you there, especially if you got like There's a couple of packages. I think one's called Wriggle Bone that sells itself especially for hair, like more cartoony.
I mean, if you like just look at any game, so many AAA games, things still clip. Like never, nothing ever is perfect, right? Like that's if you
Batman's
you know
cape.
if you're gonna aim for like animation level of hair physics and stuff, it's obviously not gonna work. I think just find a reference that you think matches what you want to do and try and figure out what they did and see if you actually need that. Because I can't imagine a game that I've played recently or ever that it had to have physics strand based hair in it at all.
Well, I hate to say it, VR chat. Hair simulation's not bad.
I'll now
I
mute
get
my
it.
mic and stop this conversation.
Sorry?
Yeah, I
Say
don't know
again?
what you just said. What is VR chat? What?
The
Okay, so I
metaverse, but
think
10
I
years
might
ago.
have.
The future.
I don't play VR chat, but I have seen some
No.
animations from it, and it's actually very good.
Someone has
Surprisingly.
summoned me. Who's at VR chat?
Wait, I get to say this because I'm alumni, and my views no longer need to reflect the open window standard. But
It's so far from the truth.
if your if your if your choice on your to-do list is between simulating beard hair and getting your core mechanic to be fun, I would say core mechanic
I
because
mean, like, if it
beard
wasn't God of
hair
War.
is cool and all, but fun games.
But mostly mean for, like, female characters with long hair. Like, it will clip, and setting up bones for hairs is a pain. It really
My
is a pain in
statement
the ass.
stands. If you have to choose,
So when you're talking, all I'm hearing is I'm lazy. I don't want to do it. Is there something to do it for me? Correct.
Oh no, it's time constraints, sort of.
Then
Double
don't do
majoring.
it. Then shorten her hair. Give her a Chinese barb or something, and then the problem is solved.
Okay.
That's work.
Is aiming. Okay, I'm just setting up an aim so we can go into the aim state quickly. Is aiming is true. What if we don't want to throw? We need to get is aiming if false to the exit as well.
So this-
Really snoring, eh?
I was about to say, like, I
Bailey is
recently watched
killing it right now. She's killing it right now.
I recently watched Godzilla -1, and it's the exact same sound. One to
Where do you
one.
think they got the sounds from? It was just
I was
from
about to
her.
say, little known fact, Bailey actually
She also did the sounds for
inspired
King Kong.
Godzilla.
She does it for both. Aim and release. Then we need a throw. Let's just. I think a throw can be a trigger. So let's say. It's throwing. Just gonna go and throw the. Throwing, and then we'll exit when the animation is complete. Okay, so the aim animation, where are you? There. Okay, and then this one is the throw animation. Where are you? Hopefully this works. This might not look very nice. We're about to find out. So aiming and throwing. Okay, let's go back to the code. Let's set up some more. Let's just duplicate that. No. Yes, I can't remember now. This one is animator aiming. this one is animator throwing. Okay, so where was I aiming? On aim, there we go. Okay, so on aim we're invoking it. Actually, let's see about that Unity event that you were wondering why we use them. Okay, so on aim, let's grab the animator. Animator.set. Was it a bull? Is aiming? Yeah, it's a bull. We're looking for a set bull, set bull, set bull. Can we not do it this way because that would suck? There's a bull there, but
Yeah, you can't. You have to actually call a function to then fire it off. It's so stupid because it's
that
just
could have
a
been so useful because it's already there. You
I
just have to put
know.
in the string name and set the value. But anyway, that kind of
I was about
deflated.
to say,
That sucks.
if that
balls.
worked, that would have been so sad. The
Balls.
amount of times I've put on animation events on like pointless scripts that live on the animator.
Okay, so let's do this, and we'll just call the there and do the same thing. So when we aim, we're gonna go and I think it's called player animator. Let's set ball. Let's set flow to chop. Over here it's animator aiming. Equal to true. We'll do the same thing over here. When we release, we'll just do aiming set to false. Okay, that should work. Let's confirm. Copy that name into the aiming, copy the throwing. Okay, let's see if when we aim, that the arm should kind of go up above the head. I think that's what the animation looked like. Let's confirm that. Not losing my mind. Okay, that could be better, but it's not bad. Okay, so now we need to do the throwing. So where's my throwing? Attack, there we go. On throw axe, we're going to go down here. We're going to launch it. We're probably not going to launch the axe from here. We're going to call the animation, let the animation call that. So I'm going to remove that and we're going to just say player animator dot set trigger because I think that's what this is. And in here it's animator throwing. There we go. I'm going to call the animator throwing and then let that call the from the throwing animation. So let's confirm that that plays. So that means the axe will no longer launch, but I just want to see if the throwing animation works. Okay, so let's look over there, throw it. There we go, great. It still dropped the axe. God damn it, why did it?
Paulo, did you use gravity to drop the axe once thrown?
No, I just turned the is kinematic back to false. I should probably do that inside of the player, the axe here. Because I don't want to do this just yet. I want to do that when the actual axe gets thrown. Okay, so we'll do that as well. And yeah, I guess we can leave that. That's fine. Okay, so now the axe shouldn't drop anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a animation event to do this. So we'll need a script for that. So normally when I use animation events, let's just say, let's call it player animation events handler. I can do it. I can do it. So the thing about using animation events, the script has to be on the same object that the animator's on. That's why we'll need a separate script. So on the animator, we'll assign this script, which will then get called and fire off the relevant stuff to all the other objects. You'll see what I mean now. I'm going to create just an empty function with a debug log. Yeah, let's make it public. Well done. Void, let's say throw axe event. Okay. Okay, let's put in the log here, debug.
I would like to put my vote in for naming this variable Smithers release the axe.
Again with this, what fat fingering am I doing here? God damn it, is it Visual Studio that's maybe switching over? That's very
Possibly.
frustrating. Let's see. Okay, thank God it's back again. Let's just say throw X. Let's just say that that's what it's going to do. Okay, so we're going to test if this works by using animation to call this throw X function. It needs to be public. And you'll see a lot of the ones online doing it in the animation window. Fuck that. I don't like that. I think that is so backwards. I'm going to go to my throwing animation here. I'm going to make sure I can see what the animation looks like. I'm going to find when I would like the axe to be thrown. So maybe somewhere around about frame 21. Okay. I'm going to go under the events over here. And over here I'm going to click the plus. The function is going to be called the same as the function what I've named it. Or does it have to be the string? Well, we're about to find out. So let's test if this works. When the animation gets to that point where that event is, whatever is called throw axe event should get called, and we should get a debug log here saying, good God, I did close Visual Studio. I was so proud of myself, and then I stopped being proud of myself. Okay, so let's see if it logs out, I think, throwing axe. I think that's what it is called. So let's aim, let's throw. There we go, throw axe. So that function was called, which was called by the actual animation itself. So now that at that point, when in the animation, I want to release the axe and do everything we had before, just so it looks a little more natural. Okay, so let's go back to our character here. We have our script here. Now we just need to call the function on the axe to do everything we did before. So we will make a very quick reference to the axe here. I'm going to be lazy and make it a serialized field. Axe, let's call it player axe. Okay, and what happened to my... What? Did I just delete my function? Throw axe. Yes, I did. My God. And everyone's just sitting there saying nothing. It's like, stupid idiot.
I was kind of still mortified by the idea of you saying that you're being lazy by serialized field. Me hides all my publics under the bed.
Okay, so let's copy axe here, and then we're gonna, when we throw the axe at that exact moment, we're gonna go and say, I think there was an update axe settings first. Remember, we want to, based on here, we want to send in the collider, so we want to set the collider true and is kinematic to false. So we're going to go and type in true. This is why you want to make sure that those are descriptive so that when you read it, it makes sense. So after we've done that, we can then player axe dot, and then we're going to check for, what was it? Shit. Throw axe, there we go. Throw axe settings, was that what it's called? I don't know what that... Yeah, it's just normal throw axe, you asshole. Don't listen to the software. It doesn't know you. It doesn't know you. Okay, over here we need to send in the amount of force. Oh, fuck, it's on the player's side. Fuck that. I'll make a reference to the player quickly. But anyway, we'll need the force and the camera. So over here, we're just going to, once again, very quickly make a reference to bullshit.
How about just making it a public Unity event?
Yeah, I could do that, but where would the fun be in making my life miserable? There we go. Okay, so we have a reference to the player, so from there we will be able to then feed through the player dot. We guess I didn't make any of these variables public. Where's my force? There we go, that one needs to be public. What was the other one? The camera. Okay, does anyone know what I just did there as far as using the hide and inspector above the public? I want it to be public, but I don't want it to be visible in the inspector. That's why I hide in the inspector. Whereas the throw value can be visible in the inspector. So we're looking for the throw force and the player camera. So let's go back here. I'm gonna grab the throw force, comma, player camera dot transform. I think that's what we sent through. Okay, that should do it. So now the axe should only fly at the time at that point in the animation. So let's save this. Let's confirm that. Okay, we need a reference to the axe and a reference to the player. So let's grab the player, and over here we're just going to search for Kratos axe. There we go. Thank you so much for being smart. Okay, so let's test this and see if now and then, or I'm going to just add some code to the axe to spin. And then I really do think we will have to call it, but I will make a video for, okay, so the rotation speed is real slow again. When did we fuck this up? Hold on. Loop rotation, I think it was 10. That's what I think we initially had the final where we landed on. Sorry, we've been playing with so many settings, I completely forgot about that. Oh, that feels better. Okay, so aim, throw, there we go. So now it released at that point. It doesn't look beautiful, but at least it released at that point. So let's make the axe spin now. Back to the axe script. There it is. Okay, so we're just going to make it spin cheap and nasty in an update, but we don't want to put it directly in the update. As usual, we do want to create a new function called spin axe or rotate axe. Spin axe. I think spin axe is fine. Okay, so the axe is going to spin when the axe has been released. So we can also just check if is kinematic is true. We could do something like that. So we're just going to copy that. So that way we know that it needs to only spin there. So we're going to do something along the lines of a transform.rotate. Okay, so transform.rotate will take in a rotation angle. So I'm going to rotate it in the Z, I think it is. If I remember correctly, the axe, god damn it. Yeah, so we're going to rotate in the transform.forward. Then we're going to multiply that by a rotation speed. And then we're going to use it. We should be able to choose what axis we want to do. Like world space, or let's just leave it like this and see if that's... Okay, so rotation speed doesn't exist yet, so we're going to generate a field for that. It's going to try to make it a vector 3 because it's not smart enough yet. There we go. And let's make it... Don't know if it needs to go clockwise or counterclockwise, so let's make it 360 and see if that's going the right direction or not. Okay, spin the axe only when we've released the axe. Boom, boom, transform.forward, rotate. We can put in, I think we can do local. Let me just check. No, why not? Anyway, let's see what happens here. It might spin weird. We will see. Okay, much faster. It needs to spin way faster than that. So let's grab the axe. Of course I made it private. That's brilliant. How am I supposed to edit that? Let's try 1,000 and let's see. I think it needs to spin forward, right? If we throw it, it needs to spin clockwise. Okay, let's see. Okay. Aim, chuck. Why is it not spinning? Did I not see it spin? Did I miss that? It was spinning earlier on, or was it not? Am I completely losing my mind? Let's just confirm that I'm not losing my mind, because I think I might be. Actually, let's just create a simple ball. When we throw it here, let's create a ball over here, which is going to be private. Axe released or thrown.
Did you call the function on update?
Probably not now. No, don't point out the obvious. Okay, so if the axe has been thrown, then spin it. So that means over here we're going to say axe thrown is equal to true, and then obviously we need to call this spinning over here. Jared, would you use a coroutine for this, or just put in the update?
Just put in the update.
Yeah, it's simple enough. Actually, why do we do this? Just grab this, put it above that. Thank you. It's less ugly that way. Okay, now it should spin. Now 1,000 might be too much. Okay, we'll see. So it wasn't spinning before, it just looked like it was spinning. Okay, towards the clouds. The fuck was that? I don't even know if it was going the right way. Hold on. Let's try that again, because that was weird. Kratos, be better. What's wrong with you? It's not. It's doing it. It's not doing it in local space. So transform.rotate. I think we can say. Wait, hold on.
Space.local there, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure there is a local or space.
Yes, space.local, yeah. Space.self,
Self.
yeah.
Yeah, let's try that. Yeah, that makes a little more sense. I knew there was. It's just. Let's try that again.
Is forward the right axis though?
Yeah, forward would be side of the axe. The axis forward is actually the.
I see.
Let's see. Give me a second. Come, little axe. I need to know what your actual. I'm gonna just make this rotate at the start, regardless. I just kind of need to see what this axe is doing.
Just want to know, Paulo, for next term's workshop, do you guys mind making like a Assassin's Creed type of parkour system where you jump from one object to the next?
Okay, yes. So instead of it being transform.forward, you got to use vector3.forward. Because you've got space.self.
Yeah. Does it need to be forward now? Can it be? Let's find out.
Just try forward, yeah.
Yeah. Fine, Freya. Go. You're free. Go, children. Get out of my life. Okay, let's slow this down because that's happening so damn fast. Let's make it like 100. Let's see what the fuck is happening here. The axis is going backwards. Right, so let's go -5. That's more like it.
An illusion.
That's a mindfuck. Look at that. It's even creating smears for free. Look at that. Okay, so negative is forward. So let's just see while it's spinning how much we need. I think like -20 should be.
Put a trail renderer on
Jesus Christ.
the head of the axe.
-10. Yeah, fuck it. -10. Here we go. So -10 does, and then let's bring that back in.
A renderer could look cool, yeah.
Yeah, just like a troll renderer. Not like I think could be quite cool, but it might also be really fucking trippy. Might create some really messed up shit. Okay, let's try this again, shall we? Ah, there we go. Okay, success. We have now thrown it. Thank fuck. Thank you, I deserve that.
The axe goes whee!
It fucks off. Yeah, so it is using gravity. I think we could probably put a little more weight on it, but overall, I think it's working quite nicely. I would like the... Actually, that's what we need to do. Just one more thing, the rotation in the player. We need to, when we're aiming, we need to rotate to camera, so... Rotate, yeah, on player rotate, we're using it in...
It's the on update, you just put the or aim is aiming.
That's not the or. Thank God, Jesus. And I think we did have an aiming up here somewhere. Has axe in hand. No!
No.
Damn it, where is the aiming? Oh, I didn't even make it. I should have created a variable. Let's do that quickly. Talk about lazy frickin' coding. Okay, so we'll set is aiming. Here. Okay, we'll set aiming to true. I'm going to do that. We might as well use aiming over here. Set is aiming to false. Use that over here. And then back at the top, where was it in the update? There. So we can say or is aiming. So that way it's always, once we're in aiming mode, the character will rotate towards the camera. So let's just do that. Okay, so if he's looking that way, we aim, there we go. I didn't throw it! My bloody mouse, but it did do it, but I didn't throw it. You're an asshole. Let's try not to. Oh, just one thing, never work, well, at least for me, never work in Unity while Steam is open. Then your controls will do funky shit inside of Unity. So don't ever have Steam open while working in Unity. Or at least that's just for me. I don't, especially with the controller, it completely.
Yeah, I think it's their controller thing.
Okay, so let's try it again one more time, and then we can recall the axe. Sensitivity too high. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's not bad. Could be better, but it's not bad. Okay, so let's recall the axe. So, you guys still okay? Do you want to bugger off? I can give you another 10 minutes and then you probably have to be a grown up.
Got me not interested.
Okay, so let's return the axe. That will be when we press. We don't have that button set up yet, so let's go settings, character actions. I think on the gamepad it was Y on the top, and what should we use on the keyboard? I don't know yet. Let's just say let's call it interact, because we can use this for multiple other things. So interact will be the north button on the gamepad. And let's make it the middle mouse button. Why not? Keyboard, middle mouse button. There we go. That'll bring us the axe back to us. Okay. Okay, that's good. Let's go back to our script and let's go to the top here where we're doing our inputs. Again, let's add a new one. Void on interact input. Let's call it that because that's what we call the button. Just copy this one. Okay, and then we can just again confirm. Anyone tell me why we add this dot performed here when we press a button from new input system?
Isn't it like on press? So there's on started and then there's on there's another one for ending it. So on performed is like continuously pressing it.
Yeah, so what happens when you don't put this in? If you put a debug log, you'll notice it will fire 3 times. So when you press the button, when you hold the button, when you release the button. So if you don't say dot performed, you might be shooting 3 projectiles, for example, every time you click the button, as opposed to just firing off 1 projectile. So the dot performed is like checking for a pressed. You can also do dot started. There's a lot of, there's also another one where you go incoming value dot action dot is pressed. There's a lot of different ways to do the same kind of logic. So incoming value dot performed, we're going to return the axe there. No, we're not. We're going to make the return axe just straight up inside of the update. I think this will work better. I've never done this in a coroutine, so this is not the time to try fancy stuff. So we're going to return the axe only if we have come to daddy. Doesn't that sound dirty? There we go. That's going to be the if come to daddy is true. Return the axe. Okay, so that's going to go, and when we press the interact button, there. We won't call that, we will just say what did I call it? Hold on, let me just paste it. I think I copied it, come to that. Here we go. It's equal to true. So that will call that, and then in here we'll call the function, which we're going to do an if. We're going to check to see if something. So we're going to use a value that is going to calculate how much time has passed. So we're going to create a small little timer to go through that quadratic equation that ChatGPT helped me so nicely to write, and then get a value and bring it back. So we'll need a few values here. So we'll need a couple of fields at the top here. So the first one being not that. Let's make them transform. And this one is going to be the hand socket. So we need to know where the axe is going back to. The next one is going to be, we'll need some sort of empty game object just so that we can create the curve of the quadratic curve. So let's call this curve point. And then one more is the final location, the hit point, where the axe is. So we'll know where that is, so we won't need that. So, because we need to grab the axe, tell it to come back to the hand past the curve point. Oh, wait, one more thing. We need one more here. We'll need a private float. Call this return timer, maybe. Yeah, return timer should be fine. And one more. Yes, I heard it.
In your serialized fields, there's a bunch of strings for the animations. Is it better in that case to just do the comma and then other ones to keep it all in one line, or is this better to spread it out like that?
It's easier to
Oh,
read.
okay. Yeah, if you're wondering what is being mentioned, you could just simply go public string, then comma, comma, comma. But it's harder to read that way. This is easier, it's cleaner. Because imagine this, it just becomes a fucking long line of stuff that you have to scroll across to look for. So from a legibility point of view, I prefer it this way. I do. Okay, so we've got the return speed value, we have the return timer. Okay, cool. So the way this quadratic equation works is we're going to say the return timer, as long as it is smaller than 1, because the way the quadratic curve works is that it's a value between 0 and 1, so it's a normalized value. So as long as this return timer is less than 0, we're going to keep bringing the axe back to us. Okay, so in this case we do need a reference to the axe. Oh good god, I think we do. Axref, there we go. Axref dot transform dot position. So we're going to get set the position of the axe to my cb utilities dot get point along quadratic curve. There we go. Jesus, sometimes I wonder where I come up with this naming. So the first one in here that we need is the float time, which is our return timer, Then we're going to go comma, and then we need the end position, which is where the axe landed. So we're going to go axe ref dot transform dot position, and then we need the curve point, which we have as the, I think we called it curve something, curve point, comma, and then the last one is the starting position, which is the hand socket, I think we called it, dot position. Okay, I think the curve point is actually a, I need to do that. I think it's also, good God, let me zoom out a little so you can actually see the entire line.
I think you also have to call the function on the axe for it to update its stuff so it's not kinematic, so it stops. Otherwise, its gravity is going to just keep affecting it as it comes back.
That is a good point. So we send the position based on the curve, and then after this time it needs to update every frame. So underneath here, we're going to go and say plus equals, and over here we're going to use our return speed. I think I called it return speed, and we're going to multiply that by time dot delta, so that we can make it return faster or slower. So this speed will dictate how quickly it will come back to us, or how slow it'll take to get you know, English, god damn it. Or should I actually multiply that over there? Can't remember. We're about to find out if this is a shit show. So before we do all of that, you did make a good point. So let's go to our axref dot, what was it called?
Update settings, axe settings.
There we go. There we go. And we're just gonna disable the collider, and we're going to enable the rigid body. So disable the collider, set that to false, and set that to true. Okay. And then return the axe back to us. When it gets to the end over here, we can set come to daddy to false, and we can set the axe back to be parented to the player. So we can say the axe ref dot set parent transform dot set parent, and the parent should be, do I not have a reference to the hand socket? There we go.
Then you can set the hand in axe bool true.
Thank you. And fuck right off, what did I call it? My brain is mush right now. Has axe in hand. There we go. Sucker to true. There we go. So let's see what that does. Let's see what that looks like. Then we'll also need to do a returning animation to catch it, do a little bit of camera shake. There's a ton of stuff that needs to still be done, but I do need to do a few things. I need to go under the actual character that's moving. So this is the character that's moving, so we'll need to add an empty game object here quickly. Create empty, let's call this curve point. We'll move it up a little bit, somewhere over there, move it to the right. Maybe move it to a little bit forward so that we can create this kind of curve. Maybe a little further. And go back to our code because we added the hand sockets there, the curve. Fuck off, man. There's my mouse. My mouse is doing some weird stuff. Hand socket. Didn't we have another reference to a hand socket? How are we parenting stuff? We weren't. We were just breaking the parenting, but we're not adding it again. Actually, just click here and search for just type in socket. It should be easier. There we go. Return speed. There is no return speed. Sometimes what did we say? Let's try 10. I'm not sure what the return speed should be. Oh, I didn't set up the return button. Hold on. should have it spin on the way back as well. But it doesn't stop spinning currently, so we'll see now.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
Where'd you go? Come back to me. Come back to me. It went the first time, but it never came back. Hold on. Let's find out what happened there. Oh, unless I didn't set something on the way. I said, come, let's just see what we did when
You
we
maybe
threw it.
re-enable the collider.
Axe in hand is false. Players made the throwing. Yeah, everything else was done on the axe. I'll have to confirm what we did on the axe. But we did set the parent. Axe in hand is true. That's a good question. But let's just confirm that did work. I just want to see why it didn't work more than once. It did also go quite quickly. So let's make the speed a little slower. Yeah, it's like go 2 or something. Return speed.
If you love your axe, you should let it go. And if it returns to you, it loves you back.
Doesn't come back the second time. Okay, so I'll take a look at that, but it is returning. It's not returning a second time. So that means we're able to throw it again, but the second return... Oh, we don't reset the timer value. For fuck's sakes. So we're adding up, yes. You little bitch, you thought you'd sneak past me, didn't you? If you don't talk to your computer, your code, you're not crazy enough to be a programmer or a game developer. Like, your computer is a person, and it's always out to get you. Every time you turn your back on it, it will try to destroy something. Exactly.
I think the arc is coming back like sideways, not upwards.
That's cool though. No,
It looks cool.
That would be
Yeah,
cooler
it
than
is
up.
going
Yeah.
down. I think you're right. I think the curve point is too low. So let's grab that curve point and just put it higher up. Maybe even disable the... No, but it is set to kinematics, so why would it... Now let's just confirm. It should go past that point and come back. At least that's what I think the math tells me anyway. So let's see. Let's throw it. Call it back. Oh no, it is going to that point. Throw it. Call it back.
Yeah, that looks good.
Call it. I also want the axe to come back at an angle maybe, and then I'll obviously stop spinning because now it looks like I have a propeller attached to my hand. Let's go!
Paulo?
Such a
Paulo?
thing. Yeah. So that's yeah.
I just want to know, how do you calculate that curve?
It's the quadratic curve. I think I had that wonderful image somewhere. So what it's doing is it's creating. Let's draw it here quickly. Photoshop. Here we come. So the way it's calculating the curve is, I will show you as follows. Come on, Photoshop. And then William can correct me if I'm wrong, but fuck maths. Maths is not real. It is made up by a bunch of scientists who had nothing else better to do with their time.
Find the flaw in this man's logic.
Okay, so the way it works is, for example, this is where the axe was dropped, this is where the hand is, and then I created an empty object here. So what it's doing is it's calculating for the axe to come back by creating a curve to go past that and come back here.
But how does it create that curve?
Using a quadratic equation. So if we go to the math over here, this is the math that it's using. So it's taking in the time, and it's setting the float u to the 1 minus the time, and then it's taking the tt, which is time multiplied by time, and then it's taking the uu, which is this... Oh, it's the time minus 1, and then it takes all of that and returns us uu multiplied by end position plus 2 times u times time times curve position, which this is what ChatGPT told me was the result for the math equation that I put in. So
that is
so
indeed a quadratic equation.
Yeah, so that is the return value. So it returns the end position using the u multiplied by u, which is 1 minus time. and then it takes that over there time. So it's 2 times u again multiplied by time multiplied by the curve, and then adds all of that together, giving you, so it's stepping through every point between the end position, the curve point, and the start position, stepping using the time. So this is where we're getting that point along the curve. So when the time is 0, it's going to give you this position. When the time is, let's say 0.1, it's going to give you this position, 0.2, that position, 0.3. And as we cycle through, and remember, this starts at 0, ends at 1 for this entire curve. So between 0, as it increments from 0 up to 1, it'll go through these points on the curve.
Thank you, ChatGPT.
And the answer is math.
So Paulo, I've written this code once before. Mine didn't work out as great, so I just took a screenshot. Sorry about that, but this isn't published work, so it's not copyright.
It's not copyright, so you're fine. Okay, so again, remember, for my programs or anyone, just creating extensions. Jared's got one, I've got one, Christian's got one. We all have an extension like file, a utilities file, if you will, with stuff that you do a lot over and over and over. Do it once, use it again. You'll notice we also put something called a namespace throughout at the beginning to encompass our code. So you'll see we add a namespace over there. So it's called crocodile brackets, and then inside there's a static class called CB utilities. So the reason we do this is that whatever we do in here, we can have it named almost exactly like anything that Unity uses, and we won't have any conflicts because of our namespace. Okay, and then Jared can probably give you a better description than that, but that's basically why I use it. Okay, so this being a static class doesn't have to be anywhere but your project, and you reference that script at all times and grab information from it. That's how I set my cursor on and off. I don't have to put that into my code every time. I have that script. I just enable and disable the cursor using that script.
So when you make a new project, I'm guessing you just import that directly into the project?
Yep, I have a folder. It's a Unity package that I just bring in. It creates a folder, and there's the script. That's all.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I might do that just with different player controllers as well.
Yeah, and then whenever you use it, you can use it like any other namespace. So at the top of this script here, I added my crocodile brackets at the top here, and then wherever I used it, all I had to do was say CB utilities dot, so like a CB utilities dot whatever it was. And I also had the CB utilities dot camera forward there, so that's pretty much how you do it. And now my mouth is dry, so I'm pretty much done. The next one I would like to do is just do a combat system. I think I found a nice new way to do a nice modular combat system that allows you to use a list to stack up your combos in any sequence you want. And didn't get to that. But we got the throwing and returning, so that's good. What's interesting is for you guys to mess around with how would you pin this axe onto anything. The only collider I have is this little guy here. But yeah, so when the collider, when the axe hits that, you would just stop it in its tracks. You set the rigid body to is kinematic to true, and then leave it there, and then you can just call it back again. Yeah, that's it. Any questions? Yeah.
I want to make a request for next term's prototype bin. Can you guys show us how to make Assassin's Creed poker systems so jump from one pole to the next pole, for instance? Because the climbing, I think it's not that hard, but jumping from one object to the next object.
I won't lie, the jumping is way easier than the climbing. Especially with the IK on the hands, it actually reaches for objects, and but yeah, like the jumping isn't that bad. It is a lot of work. All of this is a lot of work because as you do something, you think, sweet, that's cool, and then you realize it doesn't actually look that cool. And then you have to kind of fix and tweak that. So just a recap of what we did today. We covered Unity events for those of you who've never done it. I've just added two of you just to kind of show you the practicality of it. The best way that I learned these things is I did an entire project just using Unity events to really understand what to do with them. Same thing with scriptable objects. Talking about that, you did mention something about scriptable objects. I'm just going to quickly open up a project here that has a scriptable object. Great. I have a problem. I like to always install the latest version, then uninstall the current version. So we'll
I'd
open
like
that
to
in the
second that.
background.
That is the problem.
That is a problem. It's a good problem for me personally. So scribble objects are nice because they're just really nice data containers. What else did we cover? We covered animation events. So we added an event to an animation. I think it was the throwing one. Let's confirm. So in the throwing over here, we added an event over here at this point in the timeline. Think of it as adding a keyframe, right? I went and added a keyframe. So at this point, I fire a function I called the function called throwX. And because the script lives on the same object as this animation, so that script, the animation event script, lives on the character here. When it called that function, this script listened for it and then fired it off. And that's how we released the axe at that point. So what's really powerful about that is if I'm not happy with where the axe is being released, let's say I want to release it a little further along, like further in the throw. I just need to kind of go to where that is, grab this event and move it further down the line. Just click apply, and then it will now release later because that animation. And for those of you who've used Unreal, this is like anim notifies. It's basically the exact same thing. Okay, so now it should release much later in the throw. There we go. It does look a little bit stiff. Come back to me. I need to check some stuff. That's not bad. That's a really cut throw though. Like this is, so the root motion part is actually not bad. We didn't do all 8 cardinal positions, but the move isn't bad. It feels pretty responsive. It doesn't feel bad. The camera's not in a bad position. Hold the axe back.
Maybe it's because the animation mask is only affecting the arms. Maybe if you affect the torso with the throw as well.
Yeah, you're right. Let's do that. Let's change the mask and let's just add the torso and let's just add the head. Why not? But there's a lot you can do. This is just in what? A little over 3 hours. And we can, that now just, it looks like he's like, it's got a little bit, he likes his left side. He's leaning into his left side a lot. It's like, I like you. I like you. Yeah, maybe not the head. The head looks weird. So we'll just disable the head from that. I think the rest should be fine. If you want to even go into further here, remember, you can still go down here and say maybe you just want a couple of the upper, like the chest bone and maybe the one bone below it. So you don't have to just use this. It's just for this exercise, I think it's more than enough to kind of always remember to apply your prefabs. And let's test one more time. I want to test on the controller. I actually haven't done that yet. The triggers can be a little finicky on the controller because the triggers aren't buttons. Technically, they're float values. But it is working fine, actually. I imagine if I actually had a nice animation for when I caught it. The comeback animation, I think we just need to do, maybe reverse the axe rotation. Whoops, there's no collider. Yeah, he's still a little bit spastic. There we go. I don't know if you can say that, but look at this. Look at this poor guy. Yeah, there we go. Everything works on the controller and the keyboard. I always do everything from scratch using both of them. Okay, so in this game, I use scriptable objects for the player settings. So I created a scriptable object for the player setting that controls the sensitivity for the camera, the pitch and the yaw, the crouch speed, the walk speed, the run speed, the jump multiplier, in-air multiplier, all of that, so that I can have different settings for different characters or maybe classes or whatever it is. Everything from the dodge and all of that are inside of the, and then over here on the actual player, you just reference the scriptable object over there and get all the information from the scriptable object.
How do you reference it in script?
Oh, you just call it like anything else. So over here, you just say player default, like over here, let's just grab it quickly. Oh, Willow, do you realize I'm standing here? Yes, they don't even pay rent. They take up more space than I do. Okay, so if we go to the top here, you'll see that there is my player control config file, so I can just go and search for where it's being used over there. So I'm just saying player config.walk multiply because that was one of them. We have player config.jump multiplier. So you can just grab it directly from that scriptable object. And the scriptable object is really simple to make. Let me open the scriptable object here. Okay, at the top, you always need your create asset, menu, all of that crap. Instead of being mono behavior, you use the scriptable object at the top there. And then you just add all the variables you need inside of your scriptable object.
Oh, cool, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, I had a question that leads into another question relating to scriptable objects.
Yes.
So, in a case where what I'm working on, I have to change maps between every round. Okay. Is it better to have a single scene, delete a prefab map, and then place in the another prefab map, or to load a completely different scene with a different map?
Different scene.
Okay.
Different scene.
The
And
lighting
just,
conditions and
yeah,
effects and sounds and
yeah.
everything.
I would say
Okay, and
load
then
and unload, or make it like you can have a, let's call it, a lot of other setups of projects do have a default empty scene called persistent scene or base scene. And then all you do is add it, load another scene into this one. Don't unload the current one and load a new one. Add it additively. So you're adding one scene. Like, for example,
oh,
let's create another scene here quickly. Let's create a brand new scene. This one.
Like you can have your whole game HUD in a single HUD scene, so all your UIs there.
Let's call it HUD. Yeah. So what you can do is have a scene like we have here. As soon as it opens. Sheesh. I believe in you, computer. I believe in you.
Okay, because in my case, a thing I was struggling with is since the player has stats changing between every round, having those stats move over, I'm gonna have to, if I were to just switch scenes, I would have to save it, input the default character, change all the stats which I was thinking of holding as a scriptable object, and then, but if I import the way you're suggesting now, it makes it a lot easier since the player stays in the scene.
So I'm dragging. Notice how we have now the HUD along with the game, two scenes in a single scene. If you right click on that scene, notice how you can unload the scene, and then you can just load the scene. Oh, crap.
Yeah, I saw there was a load scene just above remove scene.
So you can do that, yeah.
Okay,
maybe
that's
keep your
great.
save stuff in a persistent, like put it in a do not remove, and make it persist through the different scenes if you want to do that.
Okay, I haven't played with that around, but I can consider that as well. There's like 4 or 5 methods I can approach this.
Yeah, any persistent type of statistics can just be on a don't destroy object.
Exactly. Or just have your player in its own Unity scene and then just have that one persist and just load all the other scenes around it. That's another option.
Yeah, I think that might be the easiest in my case, since I've got quite a bit to left to stick around.
That's it.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And then last question, where can I find this video?
It will be up. I will share it. I think I'll just share it directly in the workshop channel once it's uploaded. I'll share it to it. It's going to be a drive link. I'll share it with you guys. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's it. So, yeah. Any other questions before we go? Anything you guys want to know? So look at what I did in an hour. I did the scene in an hour, and we did 3 hours for the coding. We already have something that functions. Now spend another like 4 hours, 5 hours. We'll have the throwing a lot more refined, a lot cleaner. Let's spend another week and add all the cardinal direction animations in. Me personally going in and actually animating the throws animations properly rather than just downloading them, and we'll have something that's a lot nicer and a lot more polished. So when we say you've got a week to make something, that's a lot of time. You've spent time with us doing game jams. You see how much we do in a game jam. Imagine what you can do with 7 days. So yeah, I did share the water, the fog volume, and what else? And if you're wondering what those dirt textures are, if you look towards the sun, you'll see we have these really cool marks. Let me just show you what that looks like. Let's grab the... So the bloom allows you to insert, let me just push this all the way up. There we go. So when we look to, if you look through the screen now, wherever there is light, it creates this kind of nice, kind of really dirty screen lens, like there's just dirt and grime on it. And all it is just a black and white image that's been added to the bloom. And also just a simple lens flare. There is a simple lens flare on the directional light over here, which if I turn it on and off, you'll see that it creates the little sun in the sky, along with the little kind of chromatic aberration ring. So there's a lot of really simple, tiny little things. I didn't also, if you look at it, I didn't do a lot. I did our usual tone mapping, our bloom. So if we turn all of this off, that's what the scene kind of looks like before everything. We add the usual tone map that we always do, add a little bit of bloom, add the color adjustment to punch up the color again, add a vignette. I just added depth of field for shits and giggles, and then I just did a little bit of a white balance. It was starting to look a little bit too yellow, but you don't have to do the white balance. I just wanted to see how the white balance worked. Never really used it before. And there's a ton more stuff. There's so much. Just spend time looking at this stuff and seeing what you can do. But you'll see now that it has been added for all of you who've used post-processing. If you go under the render pipeline, you'll see right at the bottom there's a section for volumes. So now you don't have to add a volume to the scene. You can just add it to the project and it will do it to all your scenes. But if you want a specific scene to have a different post-processing, all you do is just the same way you did before. Just create a new volume in the scene, change all the options, and it'll use that one and override this one. But this is the default one that the project uses. So now it's going more towards HDRP the way it thinks. So that's how that works. Yeah. The end. And now stop streaming my screen. Stop.